At the back of my mind, I
That
have this thing. Come on, you've got to get back on it. So
Come on, ya Fatima.
I think you're going to be the one.
I think this is the day.
Who's going to get me back on.
Inshallah.
So there must be people out there listening and thinking, well, I'm an adult now. I think you memorize Quran as an adult.
Adult,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah. Or they might be thinking, well, I'm past it. There's no way I'm going to memorize now. I should have done it when I was younger. And what would you say to such a person?
Number one, what you shared with me, it's almost daily. I hear it.
Hear that.
And I heard the same story yesterday here in London. And absolutely wherever I go. This is what I will say. Memorization of the Quran is not related to age or gender. It needs one thing to start with. Number one, which is actually, there's an ayah in the Quran I quoted a lot to myself and to the sisters. It's in Surah Al-Isra. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, من أراد الآخرة وسعى لها سعيها وهو مؤمن فأولئك كان سعيهم مشكورا. Whomsoever want the hereafter. وسعى لها سعيها. The word سعى, worked hard. سعي, working hard. لها, you worked for it, for the آخرة. وهو مؤمن. In the ayah, of course, you're a believer. فأولئك كان سعيهم مشكورا. Those who fulfilled these three criteria, they worked hard, they are a believer, their effort will be rewarded, or Allah will be grateful for their reward. So what will they get? Allah knows. Now bring this in here. And I say this for dunya matters and for akhirah matters, let alone Quran. Quran journey need number one, you wanted your children to memorize the Quran.
Yeah.
What did you do? سعى لها سعيها.
Definitely.
And how much the sa'i was? Bring a 7 and 8-year-old, let him sit down and memorize one page. I've seen it, right? وهو مؤمن, believe. In here, metaphorically, Allah will not let your effort goes vain. You know Allah will help you. You will see the fruit of it. أولئك كان سعيهم مشكورا. Allah will make it easy. So bring it back to every woman or every Muslim in general. Number one, I wanted. If I don't want something, it's not going to happen unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, has exceptions. I wanted to be a physician. You wanted to memorize the Quran. So that's number one. Number two is you have to work hard for it. I don't know what you say in England, but we have a statement in the States says there is no free lunch in this country. That's what they always say, right? What's a free lunch meaning? Meaning to get something, you work for it. The Quran needs you. And one of the teachers said this to me, the more you give the Quran, the more the Quran will give you. And you believe Allah will not let you down. Unfortunately, this journey, who's going to be stopping number one in that journey, right? Which is traffic light. Number one, the red one, shaitan.
Yeah, that's true.
Does not want you to memorize the Quran. So we'll bring all what you shared with me. Obstacles, I will call it imaginary obstacles.
Yeah.
I'm old.
Yeah.
I'm a mother. I'm very busy. You know what? I forget. The moment I memorize one page, next day I didn't. And this keeps building up and you stop. This is my answer. Age is not an issue. In our institute, Jannah Institute, the oldest student memorizing the Quran is 67.
Allahu Akbar.
This is her third juz.
This is, mashallah, really encouraging.
And this is a non-Arab, a woman, grandmother, takes care of husband and child and grandchildren, very active in the community, teaches and studied tajweed, you name it, any class we start, she's there. So age is not an issue. Time, which we all blame everything on time.
No.
This is how I will say. We have time for everything. We easily spend 3-4 hours in the kitchen if you want really to prepare a meal that you like and you wanted to come out beautiful, right? Children spend 3-4 hours playing and doing all these things. We spend hours with our friends. When it comes to the Quran, it's not there is no time. I don't look at the time that I'm spending in the Quran in a way that it will give me back. Sayyidina Uthman has a beautiful statement. You see it in every Quran memorization school. It says, لو طهرت قلوبنا ما شبعت من كلام ربنا. If our hearts were purified, we'll never have enough of the words of Allah. So time, it needs time management. This is what I said to the sister yesterday, subhanAllah. And I say this to everyone who's listening to me. Look at yourself. You're a morning person or evening person. Where is your strength? You focus better in the morning or you focus better in the night? And number two, look at the time where you're free. Is the morning very hard for you because everyone is up and running around? Or it's the evening the other way around? You need to dedicate 30 to 45 minutes a day. Focus. Start 3 ayat a day. Review. And keep going. You will not memorize it in a day. Not in a year. Adults, average, with other things in life, you're talking about 5 to 7 years. People says 5 to 7 years? I said people study 8 years. In the States, 8 years to become a physician. You didn't even did anything yet. They just give you the degree.
Yeah.
So you did not do your training yet. You didn't do your specialty yet. But people do it.
When you want something, you will do it. And you make the time
give it
for
the effort.
Yes.
Now, before all this, before, during, and after, turn to him and says, Ya Allah, I know I am not worthy of your book. Because it's his words. But you are generous. Give it to me. Like you give it to everybody else. What do you think Allah will do? Will let you down?
I have to say it now. Ya Allah, I know I am not worthy and you are generous and I know you can help me. Give me the Quran in my heart.
Ya Rabbi, Ameen. And actually, the trigger that made me start to do it. And again, I was doing my residency in the States. Doing my OBGYN, gynecology, is a friend of mine who passed away, may Allah bless her soul, very young. And I saw her 2 days before. I was with her 48 hours before she passed away. And I was just coming back from Umrah. She looked at me and says, she was terminal. She said, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give me life, there's 2 things I want to do. She has young kids. Didn't say anything about the children. Honestly, or her parents were still alive. Nothing about the dunya. Says 2 things I want. I want Allah to give me life because I want to do 2 things still I didn't do. And I said, what is it? She says, I want to go to his house and I want to memorize the Quran. 2 days later, she died.
SubhanAllah.
What do you think Allah will reward her? Because the niyyah.
Intention, MashaAllah.
And I left after I was there when she literally passed away. And I said, what is my excuse? I'm still breathing. And then you come in and you said it's going to be, maybe I will not finish, maybe I'll die. And then the ayah in Surah An-Nisa comes to you. وَمَن يُهَاجِرْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ يَجِدْ فِي الْأَرْضِ مُرَاغَمًا كَثِيرًا وَسَعًا. Whosoever migrate for the sake of Allah, he will see a lot of khair and the earth is wide enough for him. But the second part is related to here. وَمَن يَخْرُجْ مِن بَيْتِهِ مُهَاجِرًا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. When you leave your home for the sake of Allah, migrating for the sake of Allah and His Messenger. And then what happens? ثُمَّ يُدْرِكْهُ الْمَوْتِ. And then he or she dies. فَقَدْ وَقَعَ أَجْرُهُ عَلَى اللَّهِ. Allah will reward him as if he completed his journey.
Exactly.
So here you go.
MashaAllah.
Start, have the resolve, turn to Allah. Ya Allah, make me strong, give it to me. I'm not worthy. Practically, I will say, the best is if you join a school or you join a group with a teacher. Alone is possible, but you're more a good target for shaitan. But when you're a group, like look at your children, because you were there, right? You were there. You were their teacher or you were their mentor. They did it by Allah's grace. So this is what I tell the sisters. Get a group. Alhamdulillah, these days with all the technology we have, you have it everywhere. You have online, you have classes online, teachers online.
Exactly,
I'm sure in London, I mean, I'm not very familiar, but I'm sure you have classes for memorizers.
Yeah, we have an institute called the Shatibi Institute in West London, I believe. We have in East London, I'm sure there are lots of places. It's and even online, having an online tutor. Once one of my children, had a tutor online as well, and that really just having that accountability and that kind of thing.
You know what?
Good.
Sometimes, I'm sure you see this here, but we see it a lot in the States. You see people at 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. in the morning doing what? Non-Muslims. Exercising.
Yeah.
Right? They go to the gym at 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Why? Because they want it.
Yeah.
And they love it, and they love the result.
Mm-hmm.
And this is for dunya, nothing. When we go to the grave, it's not going to give us anything back. Subhanallah. Can't we Muslims wake up at 5 or 4 or in the evening? Some of them goes in the evening and just give this 1 hour, not to my body, but to my soul. It's the words of him. And I can't tell you what will happen once you start memorizing the Quran. The barakah, the blessings you see in your life. And I'm not saying you're going to be rich necessarily, but the peace, the serenity, the strong connection you will feel, it's beyond.
But we will be rich. We have like a richness in our heart.
Exactly.
I know that because I've tasted it.
Alhamdulillah.
And like my son, when I'm studying or when I'm preparing a talk, I'm like, "What's the ayah?" And he'll just tell me straight up, and I'm like, "I wish I had that." He's got the Quran so.
I'll give you one. It's beautiful. And that's a true story. It was one of my patients, and she was 78, great grandmother. So she came to me and she needed the surgery. First question she asked me, when will I be able to leave the house? And in me, I was like, 78, where do you want to go? Right? And she said, and I said, where do you want to go? She said, I go to the Quran school. And I said, MashaAllah, tabarakallah. So where are you? And she said, we are in Al-Baqarah. I said, MashaAllah. Because what I thought, she starts from the back.
Yeah.
So now we're almost done.
Okay.
And she says, no, Dr. Younis, it's, we started from Al-Baqarah. And I was like, MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Yeah. So I did the surgery because it was about 2 months later. Did the surgery and then in the hospital. And then she said, so when I can go to the school, I said, after 2 weeks, someone can take you and you can go. She come back 6 weeks for her visit, checkup visit. And I said, and I called her auntie. And I said, auntie, she said, did you go? She said, yeah, I went. And I said, where are you now? She says, in Ali Imran.
MashaAllah.
78.
Wow. Yeah.
So I will absolutely say, the hadith, it's in Imam al-Tirmidhi, اغتنم خمس قبل خمس. Take advantage of 5 before 5. Do you know the hadith?
Yeah.
One of them, which actually most of them applies to the memorization of the Quran.
That's true.
شبابك قبل هرمك.
Your
youth before you get old.
Yeah.
فراغك قبل شغلك. Your free time before you get busy.
Yeah.
Right? صحتك قبل سقمك. Healthy before you get illness. And wealth before you get poverty. And the most important one.
Your life before your death.
Die.
Subhanallah.
May Allah give it to you, Ya Rabbi, Ameen. Today's Jumu'ah, just before Maghrib, turn to Him sincerely. The Sa'at al-Ijaba, the time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala respond.
Yeah.
Turn to Him and says, Ya Allah, give it to me. Give me the resolve. Give me the himmah.
Yeah, I think all of us, brothers and sisters who are listening,
absolutely,
we need to get back on it, subhanallah. And it's true. It's actually never been easier in a way because, sometimes when sisters say, how can I seek knowledge? So I will say to them, well, there's so many means now, like even if you have very small children and you can't get out of the house or whatever.
Exactly.
We have online courses. There are different means, and sometimes you have to adjust yourself depending on your circumstances. But I think the most important thing is to keep moving forward. So I remember at certain times my son, we would go online. Sometimes he started the class in the mosque, and that was the best, to be honest, to go every day. But depending on what was happening, we had to change the strategy, but keep moving forward.
This applies not only to the memorization of the Quran, Ya Fatima.
Definitely.
It applies to the knowledge.
Yeah.
Because these days, and I'm specifically addressing the women here and the Muslims at large, the main problem we have as Muslims now, honestly, is lack of knowledge. We don't know our deen. We don't know how to practice it the right way. If you ask a person in general, why do you pray this way? The answer usually Yes, that's how my mom taught me. May
Yeah.
Allah bless all the mothers. Or my father taught me, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes the parents have been taught right, but sometimes could be they're not. But seeking the knowledge itself, the basics. So we know, and I'm talking about the basic, not only the external, the basics, knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have this personal relationship. You know it, so you can give it to your family, you can give it to the people around you. We don't, because we don't spend time, allocate time to learn this deen. And this is one of the main reasons that's made me, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used me to start Jannah Institute, is to have a place where the women not only learn, but they need to know how beautiful it is to learn and what it will do to your life and to your family and your relationship with Allah and the peace that we all look for these days. Live in peace, which is missing, subhanallah. Allahumma hayyina bis-salam. Ya Allah, make us live in peace, is when you are connected with Him. Part of the knowledge is His book, and also learning His deen, His religion, Islam. How do I practice it? How do I feel it? This is extremely important. I mean, if anyone is hearing and listening to me, I will say, if I go back, if Allah will give me another life, I will have started this much younger than I started when I really started. And another thing, which a lot of people these days especially, it should not be either or.